It was ridiculous. I remember walking up to Bill Murray at a bar while we were shooting. I was like, can we go play golf, dude?
We are excited today to have a really cool cat in. He's been a working actor in Hollywood for many, many, many years with over 80 film and TV credits to his name. That's a lot, including giant TV shows like 24, Breaking Bad, and here comes the police are already coming for him, and The Mentalist, as well as movies like Dark Knight Rises, Fantastic Four, and Blow, which is pretty cool. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the biz, all while juggling duties as a husband and a dad, an all-around good guy, and that's probably the toughest gig he's got. You might know him as the Cuban gangster Clavo Cruz from CSI Miami. We'll just call him by his real name. Let's give a big after-hours welcome to Mr. Gonzalo Menendez. Woo!
Yay woo. Is it bad if I'm saying yay woo for myself?
You've done a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
Now, you're originally from Miami.
Yeah.
Cuban background.
Cuban background. My parents came over from Cuba right before the Castro Revolution, or just after the Castro Revolution, I should say.
You got to go to a pretty cool college.
Yeah, Florida State University.
Florida State Seminoles.
Absolutely.
The karate chop thing.
Big
the vertical.
waving karate chop. I didn't go there for any of that. I went there because I heard that they had a good theater program.
Talk about that theater program a little bit.
When I got to Florida State, there was this class there. It was called the Intro to Theater class. It was supposedly an easy A.
So there was a lot of athletes in the class?
There was a ton of athletes. Yeah, you know what? Deion Sanders was in that class.
Wow.
I saw him the first day when he raised his hand and said, I'm Deion Sanders, I'm here, and then I never saw him again. I just wanted to learn how to act. And there was just something about movies that I've always loved. And I, even now, today, with so much good stuff on television, I still am drawn to the movies. It takes you to a different place, and for that bit of time, you're transported. And so I gathered up enough information. I asked Mr. or Dr. Karyoff, how do I go about finding this monologue thing that you speak of? He's like, you have to go to the library and you have to find a play and find a speech, like a character.
Something that speaks to you.
Yeah, something that speaks to you. And so I found a play called The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel. And so when I get to this audition, now all of a sudden, and you've probably experienced this just here in town, but you see this line of people.
Oh, yeah. Cattle
and
call.
It's so ridiculously intimidating. As soon as I walk in the door shuts behind me, and I start in on the monologue. And it was Michael Ritchie and George Judy were in that room. And George is like, he's got a big bellowing voice. He's like, stop! It's not how this works. You tell us your name, you tell us who you're doing and what it's from, and then you start. My name is Gonzalo Menendez, and I'll be doing Pavlo from The Basic Training of Pavlo Hummel. And I start, and it's going really, really well until about the third line. And I go, I'm fucking lost. And it just threw me for such a loop, and I went, I can't do this. I can't. It still makes me cry.
I can see you.
And I was like, thank you for your time. I'm in the wrong place. And I left. I just left. I got about a block down before I realized I left my fucking backpack in the room. So now I gotta go back up the goddamn hill, through the line of people watching me cry to get my backpack. And I was like, sorry again, guys, I left my backpack. And they're like, George Judy again, stop. You were doing great. Start again.
Wow.
So I just started the monologue again. I got through it. Thank you for your time. I'm gonna get my backpack this time. Grabbed it and walked out the door. I think it was like 4 or 5 days later when they put up the lists of all of the people that got into the acting one class. It turned out that I was the third one chosen.
Wow. If he wouldn't have done that, who knows if you would have ever continued.
I would have never turned around.
You know, you got your first gig, a very nice gig, CSI Miami, I believe, playing Clavo Cruz.
Clavo Cruz, yes. The auditions were in Manhattan Beach. As soon as I walked out of the room, I was like, fuck, I feel really good about that. Got out of there, went back to the Gap. I think it was that same day or the next day. I don't know, but me and my wife, we were bickering over something or another. I can't remember what it was. And she was in my ear about something when I got the call. And I remember just telling her, you know what? I don't want to bicker with you about this anymore. She's like, why? I go, because I want you to come with me to Miami. I got the job.
Oh! Oh, man.
And she's like, oh, really? Yeah, I got CSI Miami. Let's go. So
Awesome,
it was really,
man.
really cool.
Oh, yeah,
It was great.
yeah.
That's the thing. The business side of it is a pain in the ass.
Yep.
The auditioning side of it is a pain in the ass. But the one thing that keeps bringing me back to it is the moments.
There's nothing like it.
I just
But David Caruso.
Lieutenant Kane.
That's right. Talk a little bit about working with David.
We talked about NYPD Blue. We talked about the movies. I remember he did one with Linda Fiorentino and Ving Rhames. It was called Jade.
Yeah, sure.
And I asked him about that whole thing with the TV show NYPD Blue and when he decided to go to movies. And he told me that he had a store in Miami during that time, like when he wasn't doing NYPD Blue and when the movies weren't doing really well, that sold clothing. So he understood and respected the fact that I was working in a store and still pursuing my passion or whatever. And he said, just take this one piece of advice that I'm going to share with you. Hollywood will tell you where it wants you to be. And Hollywood told me they don't want me to be a movie star. They want me on the small box in their living room. That's where I belong. And I found success on NYPD Blue, sort of pissed it away at my own doing. I wanted to do something else because I thought I was going to be a movie star. It didn't work out. And now I'm back here and I'm never leaving this show. I'm just not. And I went, all right, if they want me to play Latin drug dealers, then that's what I'll do. And I rode that horse until I guess I aged a little bit and I grew into my face a little bit and I started getting more police detectives, police officers and stuff like that. I've never forgotten that. And so I've sort of come to the realization that if Hollywood wants me to be a guest star on any number of shows, then that's what I'm going to be. And I'm going to be as good of a guest star as I can possibly be. And if someday they decide, hey man, you're going to have a show and you're going to be a regular on that show and good luck, here it is, I'll take it. And I'm going to run with that. But until then,
amen.
So be it.
Jeff, our executive producer of this show.
Indeed.
He said you lied your ass off to get this part or something. Tell me about the part. And then tell me, what did you lie about to get the part?
A million years ago when Jason Priestley was on the original 90210 and Luke Perry was like the heartthrob of the decade, I remember driving from the Gap at the Beverly Center all the way up to Van Nuys to audition for Beverly Hills 90210. And it was this weird piece of material because it sounds like these guys are cowboys. And these guys are not cowboys. They go to high school in Beverly Hills. This makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But I'll do it. It beats making $9 an hour at the Gap, so sure. And so I did the audition and walk out and I was like, no. Can you stick around for like an hour or two? Because I want you to do the callback for the producers. And I'm like, fuck yeah. So I'm calling the Gap from their lobby. Listen, guys, I'm not going to be there for a while because I got to meet the director of this show and the producers. So I walk into the producer's room and I'm staring at Jason Priestley. I didn't realize that the leads of shows come to auditions at this level. That's really weird. But it was his first directing gig on the show.
Oh.
He had never done one before. I do the scene. One of the producers was like, your beard, your mustache, like your goatee, are you married to it? And I go, no, I'll fucking divorce it right now. You want to watch? Give me a razor. I'm done. And then Priestley's like, can you ride a horse? No, I can't ride a fucking horse, but I don't say that. Of
course
like, oh, hell yeah. No.
Acting 101. You never
I grew
say
up
no.
around horses. I love horses. I'm a great horse rider. I walk out of the room, call my buddy Joey Spillers at the time, who's from Texas. I'm like, Joey, you ride horses? He's like, yeah, man, I fucking grew up on a ranch. I go, cool. Can you show me how to ride a horse? And sure enough, I got the part. And holy shit, it was great. It was unbelievable.
Pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I used to run a company called Ultimate Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
And basically, I started a guy by the name of John Cena. And you
have worked with John Cena.
Worked with John Cena and director Rennie Harlan. First starring role in a studio movie?
First starring role in a studio movie.
12 rounds.
Yeah.
This was a big deal.
It was a big deal. I remember that's when WWE wanted to get into the movie business, like for real, and so they partnered up with Fox. I think it was $25 million movie. And this was a big one, and it had a real big producer, Mark Gordon.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, Mark did Saving Private Ryan, Speed, you name it. And Rennie Harlan is obviously, Cliffhanger, Die Hard 2. And so we had a blast. I mean, we had a blast doing that.
You grew up a wrestling fan.
I love wrestling.
I think that Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time.
I'm going to throw a monkey wrench at you just from something that John Cena told me personally.
Okay.
The biggest selling, most watched, most attended, most anything, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
One of the greatest guys in the world.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And I'll agree with you. He was at that time, the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So getting to work with John Cena, I mean, Rennie Harlan, pretty cool.
Yeah, and still friends to this day. Rennie's in China now. He basically up and moved to China. He's making movies in China. He just did one
huge market in China.
Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville. They just did a movie called Skip Trace. But first of all, Cena can act. He's not just a musclehead. He's a smart guy. He's a really bright guy. Because he told me how he got to meet Vince McMahon. He was on a tour bus, and he was already signed to WWE, but it was all like undercard stuff.
Yeah, he was in AAA.
There you go.
Ohio Valley.
And so while on this bus, Stephanie McMahon was on the bus, and Cena can really rap. And so he was just freestyling, and McMahon turned around and was like, "What are you doing?" Like, "I'm just freestyling. Can you do that about anything?" I was like, "Sure, pick anything. While we're driving by, pick a car, pick a building, it doesn't matter to me." So like, freestyle about that El Dorado. And so he did. Freestyle about that mailbox. And so he did. And from that conversation, she called Vince. It's like, "I got a guy I think you need to meet. He's a little bit different than everybody else." And that's how they met. And that's sort of how he got into that whole circle.
Yeah. The Colony. Let's talk about the Colony real quick. Can we not talk about the Colony?
I mean, we can talk about the Colony. I was doing a movie in Budapest, and my manager called me and was like, "So in the 3 months or 4 months that you're out there, they're going to want to fly you back to audition for this pilot." I fly back, I do the audition, I get the pilot. But like this business is, at the beginning when I audition for the pilot, the part is a series regular. Then, after everyone gets their hands in the cookie jar, they're like, "Would you do it as a guest star?" All right, cool. What are you going to say? No?
No, you can't.
No,
what are
like
you
you said, you got to make your insurance. You got to make your insurance. And so I do it. It's supposed to be 7 out of 13. Then the first season is just going to be 10. And so I ended up doing 6 out of 10.
Nice.
And I've become friends with Josh Holloway. So now they're starting shooting again. I survived season 1, which not everyone else can say. My manager calls just to give him a heads up. "Listen, Gonz is up for something else. We want to give you the dates, blah, blah, blah. So do you know what episodes he's going to be in?" They're like, "Yeah, we don't have him in season 2. He's not in any of the episodes. The show's not going in the direction of his storyline." And so there you go. So you wanted to talk about...
But a nice little run on the first season.
You know what? I had a good run, and
absolutely.
Thanks for the residuals. It's all good.
You've gotten to work with some pretty big directors. One of them, Oliver Stone, and getting to work with Benicio del Toro on Savages.
Oliver Stone, you know what? He's a really, really bright guy, and he's a very, very nice man. I mean, he was to me. Anyway, I don't know how he is in his personal life with anybody else. My scene with Benicio del Toro and Damian Bashir, working with him, being able to see his process, and the fact that these guys at the top of the game, they're talking in between takes just like you and me, and they're hanging out. They're just normal people. And Oliver, I remember he gave us one piece of direction. We had done the scene 1 or 2 times, and he just walked out from behind the director's chair and was like, "Hey guys, I'm just not getting the relationship between you guys. So I need something to see how you guys know each other in this scene." And then we just sort of figured it out without saying anything. We just made an adjustment, and that was it. It was done. And months later, when it came time to like a premiere party or whatever, I remember I took my wife, and Oliver was sitting at the bar with his wife, and right up to me, stood up, handshake, "Gonzalo, how are you? Thank you for coming."
Wow.
I was like, holy shit.
That's pretty cool.
That doesn't happen all the time.
That doesn't happen
You know what I mean?
hardly
Just
ever.
Ever.
Lost City, getting directed by Andy Garcia.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You played Fidel Castro.
I did. The way that Andy described it to me, and if you ever see the movie, I don't know how many people saw the movie, but Fidel's not really like a central character in the movie. Fidel's more like a presence felt.
Bill Murray, Dustin Hoffman in the same movie.
Dude, it was...
Come on!
It was ridiculous. I remember walking up to Bill Murray at a bar while we were shooting. I was like, can we go play golf, dude?
Oh.
Like, I'd really love to play golf with you. I know you're a golfer. And, he doesn't want any part of that.
You're a golfer.
I'm a golfer. I love to play golf. I'm passionate about golf.
So what's coming up?
The movie Spectral was supposed to get released in August. The release date got pushed back. I know it's a pretty special effects heavy movie. That was the Max Martini movie. I did a movie called Sandcastle, which was also produced by Mark Gordon. I just did 2 episodes of From Dusk Till Dawn, the series. Robert Rodriguez. Why son of a bitch?
I love that. I want to be in that guy.
Then get in it.
I'm going to. I'm going to now.
You know what?
I'm going to mention that I know you, and I'm going to get in
You should.
You should.
You know what? Speaking of which, of knowing, the guy who directed my first episode of From Dusk Till Dawn was actually the DP on CSI Miami, a guy named Eagle Eggleston. And if you ever get a chance to work with Eagle Eggleston, you will fucking love him because A, he loves actors, and B, he knows how to frame a shot to make you look like a goddamn stud.
The meat candy story. Breaking Bad. What is this meat candy story that I keep hearing about Aaron Paul?
Aaron Paul has this thing that he just loves to eat. It's this beef jerky glazed with some sugary, I don't even know what it is. He just calls it meat candy. And in between takes, he'll just excuse himself and say, I'm going back to the trailer to get some meat candy. And I thought it was code for something. I'm like, what? Where the fuck is this guy going?
Code for meat candy.
It literally is code for meat candy, and it comes out in a little plastic bag, just like a Ziploc, and you go, what? It looks sort of like glazed beef jerky. I don't even...
You did not sample?
No, I partook in it.
Okay.
I partook of the meat candy, and it is edible. It's real. It's candy, and it's meat.
You got to work on a Netflix series.
The Ropes?
The Ropes.
Is that what you're referring to?
I am referring to that with Vin Diesel.
Vin directed the pilot. He's a really good dude. He's actually a good director. And the guy who stars in the series is a dude named Val Morales. Val still works as Vin's bodyguard, and now he's co-producing Fast 8 with Vin. They shot in Cuba. They shot in New York. They're shooting everywhere.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate hearing the stories. I love it. I think you're a very passionate actor, which is great. And I love that. I mean, sometimes as actors, we forget that you need that passion. AfterHoursPodcast.com. Feel free to leave us some reviews. If you didn't like what we said or you think I'm more sexy than Gonz, please let us know. I hope you enjoyed the show. That's it for this week. Till next time, I'm Brett the Big Schwag Wagner saying thank you so much to the Gonz. Thanks, brother.
Thank you, Brett.
Hopefully we will get to work together soon. We'll see you next time.